Good morning. I would like to share with you certain important facts that you need to know before you travel abroad for medical education. Why people go abroad for medical education? If you understand medical education in India, you will have the answers for this question. I would like to share with you the medical scenario in India. See, as per the WHO, the World Health Organization, a developed country needs to have one doctor for every 1,000 population. 1:1,000. But unfortunately in our country, the doctor population ratio is 1:10,189, which means we are 10 times lesser than the expectations of the WHO. As per the Planning Commission of India, our country is in shortage both in the number of doctors as well as in the number of medical colleges. The total number of medical colleges in India as per 2022 January statistics is that there are 595 medical colleges in India. And the total number of seats in all these colleges, the government seats, the private medical college seats, the management seats, the deemed university seats, all these seats put together, the total number is only 89,395. The number of people who apply for medical education, the total number of people who applied last year is close to about 17 lakhs. So if you try to understand the situation, the number of seats available is only 89,395. And the number of medical aspirants are more than 17 lakhs. So it's almost for one seat, 18 people are competing, 1:18 ratio. If a person gets a government quota seat, a medical seat in India, he spends less amount of money. All the tuition fees and the hostel fees put together, it's very less actually. Apart from the government seats, if a person gets a seat in a private medical college or in a deemed university in the management quota, roughly speaking, the expenditure for a seat goes between 1 to 1.25 crores for the whole course put together. So for the middle class people who do not get seats in the government quota, the other option they have in their mind is to go abroad. A lot of destinations are available for medical education. Topmost countries like US, UK, Australia, New Zealand and Canada, these countries, the fee structures is very high. It's almost 20 to 30 lakhs a year. So the middle class people, they look for other destinations to travel. Let me first tell you what is the eligibility that is required for a student who wants to go and travel abroad for medical education. Number one, the student must be 50%, he must have scored 50% in his physics, chemistry and biology in average. 50% in average. Number two, the student must have taken English as a language, as a subject throughout his course of studies. Number three, the criteria that is required by him for traveling abroad is that he must be a NEET qualified student since the year 2019. Before 2019, NEET was not required for a student who wants to travel abroad. But as of now, since 2019, NEET qualified criteria is mandatory. And apart from that, a student who wants to travel abroad must get an MCI eligibility certificate from NMC or Medical Council of India. These are the mandatory things a student must possess to travel abroad. For those students and parents who want to travel abroad. Lots of destinations are available. Philippines, China, Russia, Ukraine, Georgia, lots of countries, Nepal, Bangladesh. But I want to give you some checkpoints that a student has to have in mind or a parent has to have in mind before selecting the country. Number one, when you decide on the country or the university you want to travel for studying abroad, you must check whether the university is in the listing of the Medical Council of India or NMC. Because Medical Council of India, that governing body, or NMC, is that which regulates the medical education in India. And they have a list of the universities across the globe which is recognized. And any student who travels abroad for medical education, if he doesn't study in a MCA recognized university, he cannot come back and practice in India or get a license as a doctor to practice in India. So you must be doubly sure whether the university you are going to study is in NMC or MCA listing. Number two, you have to check whether the university you are traveling or you are getting the admission is a WHO recognized university. World Health Organization is that which recognizes institutes across the globe and gives them license to run programs in medicine. If a student who studies abroad has the university in the WHO listing, he is doubly safe. The institution is recognized in India, it is in WHO listing. So these two criteria are mandatory. The third thing that you need to have in mind before you travel abroad is that you have to check whether the country you are traveling is an English speaking country. I want you to understand this very, very carefully. All across the world, medical education, the mode of instruction in the classroom is English by default. But I am stressing here an important point, that is, you have to check whether you are traveling to a country where the common language that people speak is English. You know why it is? As you become a doctor, during your third year or fourth year, during your internships also, you interact with the patients to diagnose their diseases. If you don't understand the local language, there are countries in the world where they don't speak English as a common language. If you don't understand or speak in the local language, you cannot diagnose a patient. But if you are going to a country where people commonly speak in English, you equip yourself as a better doctor. You interact with the patients, you talk to them, you diagnose them, your efficacy increases. So, the third point that you need to check before traveling abroad is that whether you are traveling to an English speaking country. The fourth thing that you parents or students need to have in mind is what type of climatic pattern or climatic nature the country has where you are going to travel. Because the climatic pattern of the country decides the disease pattern of the country. See, in India, we are a tropical climatic country, between 19 degree to 24 degree in average. In case you are traveling to an extreme climatic, a cold climatic country or a hot climatic country, the disease pattern in that country is not similar to India. For example, in cold climatic countries where the temperature is minus 34, minus 12, you don't have the diseases like malaria and diarrhea. My question to you is that how can you, during your course of studies or internship, not seen a disease or treated a disease, come back to India and treat the same disease here? So it will be good for you if you travel to a country which has an ideal climatic pattern like India or a climatic pattern that is close to Indian climate. The fifth most important point you need to check before traveling abroad for overseas education is whether the country where you are traveling allows hands-on experience. Canada, Australia, New Zealand and UK, you are not allowed to touch and treat a patient during your course of studies. All the people in the country are insured at a high cost. But in our country, a student is allowed to touch and treat a patient during his course of studies. If you have hands-on experience during the course of your studies, that will make you a better and efficient doctor. The sixth point I want you to know before you travel abroad is the pass percentage in the FMGE examination. Students who travel abroad for medical education, after they finish their studies, since 2002 March, as per the MCI, they are required to take an examination. The test is called a screening test or foreign medical graduate examination. Only after passing this examination, you are allowed to practice in India as a doctor, and you are also allowed to do your PG studies. There are 5 countries in the world. If you go there for overseas medical education, you are not required to come back and do your screening test. Those countries are the 5 English-speaking countries: US, UK, Canada, Australia and New Zealand. The FMGE examination was brought into existence by the Medical Council of India by an act in February 2002. Ever since the time this examination was introduced, the passing ratio of the students who have traveled abroad was very less. But quite recently, because of a lot of coaching, awareness, the passing percentage of the foreign medical graduates are increasing systematically. I want you to check in the net which country produces doctors. When they come back to India, they have high passing ratio in the FMGE. This is another criteria you have to check before you travel abroad for medical education.